Hey, Saners. We'll do a quick one because, I just want to get it done, to be honest. Just want to go home and forget about that. That was just not what we wanted. Comment your thoughts as always, and if I feel like it, we'll go through them and we'll see what you Saners reckon. I'm curious to see what the balance is on umpiring versus how poor we were, because I feel like a lot of the main talking point might be the actual umpiring, but I really do feel like we still shot ourselves in the foot a lot during this game. I thought we were good in the first half, I thought we probably deserved to be further up. I thought our play was quite methodical. I thought we knew what Fremantle kind of wanted us to do, and we knew what they wanted to do, and I thought we negated their kind of speed of movement with the ball in the first half. And we saw how good they are when they get speed on the ball in the second half, and that kind of really affected us setting up behind the ball. I really think we deserved to be further up at halftime. I think it was a goal up at halftime, probably wasn't deserved. I think they kind of were lucky to be that close. They got a few late calls, and we kind of kept letting them back into the game. Similar to the Carlton game where we got to jump, let them come back, and I kind of eventually thought, okay, third and fourth terms will be in this, will be good, and eventually we might actually break them down. But that third quarter happened, and the umpires really did take it to a whole new level. I'm not one to talk about umpiring too much because I don't believe that's the main reason why teams lose, unless it's a really bad call and it's in the last minute of the game. This wasn't the reason why we lost, but it could be a big reason as to why we dropped our heads and the momentum changed in the game. I think they got 4 direct goals from free kicks. I don't know if that was just for the third term or for the whole game. But, it's just some of the ones they called were terrible. I think it was Brad Hill holding the ball, and then Dan Butler gave away the 50 right on, I think it was 3/4 time. And moments before that, we tackled them, they dropped the ball, but that wasn't paid. Or Rory Lobb against Wilkie, that was paid for some reason. Show the replay, it was a joke. Or it was Nasiah, I think, tackling a Fremantle player from behind, completely dropped the ball in our forward 50. No call. Next quarter happens in their forward 50. That gets paid. They kick a goal from it. So it's not like what they called was shocking all the time. It was what they didn't call. The amount of non-calls, the amount of throws, the amount of dropping the balls. There was just so much that could have swayed this game one way or another. And I never want umpires to take control of a game. They shouldn't be the talking point of any game. If they do their jobs, we don't talk about them. I'm here talking about the mistakes we made. And there were a lot of mistakes. I thought Highmore was actually very sketchy. And I'm being fully honest. I thought Highmore was pretty bad. His field kicking is usually a strength. And I don't know if it's because his first game back in a while, like full game back. But, some of the mistakes he made out of the half back line really cost us. I think a couple actually were direct goals off turnover. And then on the other side of that, I thought we tried to bite off more than we could chew. And a good example is Gresham getting the ball in the middle of the ground. I think might have been in the first term or the second term. And he goes for this hospital handball, like 20-metre handball, in the middle of the ground, completely turns it over. They kick a goal off that. And Fremantle are, they're a top 4 team. That's how we frame it. They are a very good team. And if you do that to them, they're going to punish you on the break. And every time we made a stupid skill error, they punished us. But when they made a skill error, we overdid it. We handballed. We ran into traffic. We turned it over with our foot skills. We did not have that same efficiency, that same ruthlessness going forward that they did. So they could afford to bite off more than they could chew, because they can actually chew it. They could do that. They could go for those risky kicks, knowing that if they turn it over, either their defense is set up really well, they won't get punished, or maybe the Saints won't hurt us. Maybe the Saints aren't in that mood tonight, and we weren't in that mood tonight at all. I thought our leading was good early. I thought Membry was leading at the ball really well. King was leading at the ball really well. Marshall, Ryder, Higgins was. We were lowering the eyes. We were going for players that were moving. And then the second half, that completely went out the window. We just bombed it again. We went down the line. Mason Wood made some terrible mistakes, but then he bobs up for a goal. King comes to life at the start of a game, goes missing for basically an hour or two, but then comes to life at the end of the game when it's done. We need him there when the game, is at the risk of being taken away from us. We need those players to step up in that moment. Joyce, it's his first game back. He battled really hard, but at the end of the day, his opponent kicked 3 or 4 goals. Lob was influential in that third term. But there's not much else we can do, Sanders. We can talk about Joyce not being an AFL standard fullback, but who else do we put at fullback? Who else is there while Howard's out? Answer me that. Don't talk about Joyce. Who do we put there? Battle? Battle would cough up the same amount of goals. Who else goes there? Wilkie? He's shorter. There's no one else that can go fullback unless you move a forward to the back line, but then you're completely stuffing up the whole structure. So he's what we've got right now, and we have to deal with it. So for the rest of the week, if anyone's complaining about Joyce, it's just a waste of time, because that's the depth we have. That's what we've got, which is unfortunate, So we have to deal with that while we can, and hopefully continue to perform while Dukes is out of the team. And Jack Billings, didn't really notice him too much. Sinclair was okay. I don't think it was his best game. I thought Steele was good. I thought Windhager was really good. And our small started well, but Lynett can't. I don't know if he can go full back, mate. He's too. I don't know if he's got the size for it. He's more of a rebounding half backer. But like our smalls. I was talking to my uncle on the way back to the car, and he made a good point that they kicked a couple of goals early, but for the majority of the game, when the ball hit the deck in our forward line, our forwards were non-existent. They walked it out. I don't know what the full count was in terms of tackles in our forward 50, but it kind of just felt like they were walking it out without pressure. And I thought for the majority of the first half, our pressure was good. But they were still walking it out, hence why they could kick a lot of goals. That's why it was a high-scoring first half. And I was worried that if our scoring got a bit more difficult, that their scoring looked so easy, even if it was from free kicks, that, everyone's saying Lynett, but I don't think he's a fullback. Joyce is bigger, he's as tall, and he plays fullback at Sandy. Lynett doesn't play fullback at Sandy. He's not bigger in terms of weight. You can't play him on the tools. Like next week, Norton. Is Lynett going on Norton? No chance. It's got to be Joyce. And then you got Battle on Bruce if he comes in, and then Wilkie on Ugelhagen or something. There's a lot to think about in the back line. But even, midfield, Seb Ross had a scintillating second quarter. I thought he could hold his head high. I thought Zach Jones tried really hard, but again, leaves a lot wanting with his disposal. And then you've got Crouchy, who, got a lot of the ball. I didn't really notice him too much. I thought he was clean with it, but he wasn't damaging with it. And Steely tried his best in the middle, tackled his heart out. But he wasn't damaging either. He didn't go forward and kick a goal. And we needed more goals away from our forwards because they just manned us really well. And King was probably being held about 5 times. They missed it, but that in a nutshell is the game. Is that Freo showed why they're a top 4 team and we've got a long way to go. Like, they were so clean with the ball. The amount of we must have set a world record tonight for the amount of handballs that were kind of like half a metre too low, too far in front from our opponent, or from our teammates, sorry. And it was always at their shoelaces. They were never, players were running past. It was always just dumped in front of them. Like, hit the target. We just were so messy with the ball, and some people will blame the umpires for the loss. I blame them for the shift in momentum that kind of gave Fremantle confidence, and it kind of threw us off. Like, we were focusing more on that, and some people will say, you want those things paid because it kind of reinforces to the boys, great, our tackle pressure is worth it because we're getting reward. But when you don't get reward for doing that, you kind of put your heads down, you kind of get lazy, like, why am I laying all these tackles when the umps aren't even holding the ball? What's the point of chasing and tackling when I'm not getting rewarded? And that's the thing. I think eventually we kind of lost it with the umpires and lost faith and thought, I'm not doing this, and kind of took games into our own hands individually. And when you play like that, you're not a team. You're not going to play as a team, and you can't beat Fremantle playing that way. We needed to play better than that. We played a half. We played 2 good quarters today. Second half, I think we kicked 3 goals to basically 10 or 11. So we got absolutely demolished in the second half. It was all second half of Fremantle. That third term in particular was shocking umpire-wise, but also our form dropped big time. Our disposal was lacking. And yeah, the fourth term, they didn't punish us as much as they could have, but we were witches' hats. They were chipping it around. Fife was in acres of space. They were running into the 50, unmanned, taking pot shots, and it was just easy for them. And that's the most disappointing thing is the first half I was like, see, we look like we belong in the top 8. We're matching Fremantle. This is great. We deserve it. But then the second half, it looked exactly like what my worst fears were, and it was Fremantle will look like a top 4 team and we're going to look like a bottom 8 team. And that's what it looked like. So I still don't know which Saints team is the real Saints team. Last week was great. We beat Carlton. Carlton beat Fremantle 2 weeks ago comfortably. Then we play Fremantle at that same ground. They beat us comfortably. And next week we'll probably beat the Bulldogs by 10 goals. We'll be laughing and thinking, what the hell, where's this Saints team coming from? And then we'll lose to West Coast or something. So it's up and down. It's the classic Saints roller coaster that I talk about every bloody second week. It's painful. And tonight was a painful one to watch. In particular, that second half. So I'll scroll to the top. Obviously, I'm not going to drag on with this review because it's quite late already. So let's just go straight from this one. Adrian's, his backline wasn't great. I agree. I thought I noticed in the majority of the game that all of our defenders went up for the same ball, and one of them or 2 of them would go for a mark, and then another one would go for a punch. And it's just no communication there. I think Highmore spoiled Joyce and Battle a lot tonight, and they vice versa. They all spoiled each other. There was no communication there. Briley says they got so rattled by the umpiring. I agree. I think they really did. Robert says umpires were shit, but after halftime skill level was bad. Michael says Dockers were too good. How frustrating are the umps? But that is not the reason we lost. They just seemed to run out of puff. We did look pretty gassed late in the game. We have no backline. That's from Dave. Fucking terrible. It's from Corey. Nicholas says inconsistency, either a good match or an awful match, really. That's kind of it. No in between for the Sainers. It's either amazing and we're on cloud 9, or it's the worst game I've ever seen. And it was close to that again tonight. David says embarrassing, second half, just not good enough. But not even close is the sad thing. We are miles away from anything in September. Drop King, put Sharman in. That's not going to happen, Brendan, so don't even bother. Nathan says as soon as the game starts to not go our way, all the opposition get on top, we just turn to shit. We become lazy, lower our heads, stop running, etc. Terrible. Spot on, mate. We let so many outside factors affect us, and we won't, sometimes you see them, they close their eyes, take a few deep breaths, and then they get back into their own bodies and they can relax. We've stopped doing that, and we just let the occasion kind of overroar us. And that was the same case again tonight. Dan says Joyce wasn't great, but there wasn't any other option. Exactly. This one's from Rose. It was woeful display in the second half, and then to see the coach sitting there doing nothing, just felt like giving up. Yeah, and it's terrible off the back of Rats being signed on for 2 more years. So you kind of want to bounce back with a win and not have a performance like that right after him signing an extension. So it's not good. Not a good start to that. Glenn says, even with the umpires kicking 4 goals, we can't continue to have players like Jones continually overturn the ball, and he wasn't on his own. Over handballing the ball in close is killing us. Really good there from David. That's spot on. Oh, sorry, Glenn. AJ's asking, is Ratton still the man for the coaching job? Well, he better be, because he's signed on for 2 more years. So I'm not going to waste time speculating on whether he's the coach or not, because right now he's going to be the coach until the end of next year at the very least. And he really needs to get the best out of these boys for the remainder of the year. But tonight, again, we had a pretty strong team on the park minus Dukes, and we were capable of winning this game. That's what really annoys me, is that Fremantle are good, Ben, but they're not amazing. And at our best, we can match them and beat them. We know that because we've beaten them recently. But tonight, we were just nowhere near it. And it was just the second half in particular. It was just terrible. So sick of saying next year. That's from Nathan, mate. You and me both. I'm sick of it as well. Just be good to sit back, watch the team play. And, you know, as much as I hate the team, Geelong, they just deliver every week. As much as I hate them, I wish we could do that. Highmore back to the 2s. Yeah, that's from Taylor. I agree there, mate. Maybe after all this time, Rats was right to leave him out of the team. Maybe that was the part of his game that we knew, or Rats knew, that needed work, and all of us are saying, get Highmore in. Puts him in, and then he turns the ball over and coughs up a couple of goals. So, I don't know, maybe for once we can actually admit the coaches know a bit more about the team than us. Highmore was excellent except for disposal. That's from Phil. I thought, disposal's a big part of the game, mate. So, you want to get that right. We're the most inconsistent club in the league. That's from Raphael. I'd say in the world. I'd go that far. Once again, our disposal into forward 50 to King was rubbish. That's from Dan. AJ says, current midfield isn't good enough to make the top 8. Yeah, and that reminds me, Kane Corns is going to tweet me again tonight. That's absolutely going to happen. Thanks, Kane. This is from Shane. Seriously, our entire management should be sacked. Irresponsible to members to sign Ratton when Clarkson is sitting waiting for a coaching gig. Rats is a nice guy, but just not hard enough. Too soft, no plan B. We're a club that just accepts mediocrity. Why should I waste my hard-earned money towards paying a bunch of average managers? Yeah, fair call, mate. But I've always believed that, we got 21,000 tonight, to the game. And until us members and we just start treating this club like it's a big club, we're never going to get anywhere. And I just feel like the players, when they walk into the club, they will never feel like they're part of a big club that's going to do big things. They just feel like they're part of St Kilda, their sob story in the AFL, and they'll get close enough, but not quite get it. And that's kind of rinse and repeat every year. And something needs to break that. And it's going to take more than just together we rise or why not us and all that shit. It needs to be more. For starters, and it's little things. The marching band before the game. Get rid of it. Little things like that. That does not pump me up for the game. That certainly does not pump up the crowd. I can guarantee not one of you loves that. And the players, I'm sure they want to come out, even when they announce the team, when the guy's reading through the numbers. Number 4, Jade Gresham. Number 5, Brad Crouch. The music's not even loud anymore. Round 1, they pumped it. It was great. Now there's just no atmosphere. I don't blame people for not going to the footy now. It's not fun. Unless you're winning every week, that's the only part of going to the footy that's fun. There needs to be more aspects to it, whether it's crowd interaction or, I don't know, just pre-game stuff to pump you up. Turn the lights off and then put a red light on the race and see the boys run out with smoke, with flashing lights. Do something. It's so boring. Sorry, mini rant there. I don't know if that was related. Daniel says, seriously, if we don't win the next 3 games against Bulldogs, West Coast and Hawthorn, our season will be over. But I'm sure we should bounce back playing against the 3 sides. Let's hope we win all 3. Come on, Saints, seriously, this is not us. When we're at our best, we can beat anyone. But unfortunately, mate, we're not at our best, long enough. We're just too inconsistent. We play our best once a month, and it's very, very good. And it keeps us on our toes and keeps us kind of excited for the season. But we need to do it every week, and we just can't deliver that at the moment. So many went missing after halftime, mate. The whole team went missing after halftime. Fremantle were very good. The umpires were great, but Freo, come on, we've got to give them credit. They're a very well-drilled team. They're very clean with the footy, no fuss, and they kick goals from everywhere. They're mids, they're forwards, all over. Like, they're just a good football team. What's this? Raul says they did it, champ. It's 1-1 between the two sides. Grow a backbone and maybe a life outside trolling opposition fan pages. It's in response to a troll. Fair enough. It's been a while since we had a few trolls on the channel, so they've gone quiet, which is good. Teresa's asking, do you think fitness is an issue for the drop-off after the second half? I'd really hope not. You know, it's round 17. These guys are elite footballers. They run 50 Ks a week on the training track, and then during the game, they got bloody 16 packs. Like, they're fit. If they can't run out a game after halftime when you've had 20-minute break, what the hell are you doing? Like, I've said it many times. If you're critiquing a football team, you should never be critiquing fitness, because that's a prerequisite. You should always be fit. We should be critiquing tactics, kicking, mindset. The body itself, physicality-wise, it should be ticked off pre-season. You should be your fittest all year long. That's what we pay the coaches to do. That's what Nick Walsh is paid to do. Where's Long, third best to Sinks and members? Long was the sub, I believe, so didn't play today unless he came on. I didn't see him, but yeah. Their mids were better. Our skills were shit as after a second quarter. Absolutely, they were very clean with the footy, and you wonder if that's just good recruiting. They're just a well-drilled team. But even last year, their kicking wasn't great, but they've turned it around in one off season, and that was a big issue when Rats came in. He said he was going to pick players on disposal efficiency, and then you see some of the kicks out there today, and you're like, well, he's not really stayed true to that, has he? No words from Dave. Ryan says, quite possibly the worst game I've seen Wilkie play. Yeah, he was very quiet today, and I think he does like having Dukes there, and not having Dukes there today kind of put him off. It's all about the team structure, and when you lose one little part of that cog, of that, that team in the back line, it throws the whole thing out the window. All right, Sainers, I reckon I'm going to wrap it up there. I see a lot of comments, but yeah, this game has been a frustrating one to watch. I'd like the club to actually reach out to the AFL and get some clarification on some umpiring decisions, just for peace of mind, because I think some of those calls were dog shit, but that wasn't the reason why we lost. We lost because we lacked execution, we lacked endeavour in that second half, and it was really disappointing. We were 4 goals down at three-quarter time. Not once in the last quarter did we go through the middle and take the game on and get the crowd into the game. Not once. We settled. We just accepted that we were going to lose without even trying. And they extended the margin. And that wasn't because we took risky kicks to try and win the game. That was just us playing shit. And they capitalised on it. So I would have liked to have seen us actually go for it and just take the shackles off and play fast. But we kept trying to switch the ball and play slow and chip it around, and it just feels like every week there's a different game plan and not one consistent game plan. So, yeah, I can understand why the players get confused, because if they're getting different messages every week, it must really mess with your mindset pre-game. So I'll leave it there, Sainers. Losing my voice. I'll leave it there, Sainers. Social-wise, Instagram, you can follow us at Saints TV Pod. Please hit the follow button on Instagram. We're trying to get to 19,000 by the end of the year. YouTube as well. All this stuff goes on YouTube. All other videos as well. Player ratings, fan cams, podcasts, all on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Saints TV Pod, hit subscribe. We want to get to 5,000 by the end of the year, 4,000 by the end of the year. And there'll be plenty of content out over the weekend. Fan cams, hopefully, player ratings tomorrow. And then obviously back in the studio for the podcast on Monday night. And I know Joycey and Marshy are going to sink their teeth into that performance based on the Facebook chat tonight and what I saw them say. And they were pretty pissed off, so as we all are. So I'll leave it there, Sainers. Thanks very much for staying up and watching and commenting and venting with me. And hopefully you can still enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Go out, have some fun. Or tomorrow have a nice relaxing night and just take a break from footy and enjoy your weekend with family and friends. Take care, Sainers, and I'll see you during the week for some more content on the Saints TV YouTube channel. See you, Sainers, and go you mighty Sainers.